Now we're going to work with using a comparison operator to match a range of values. So first let's create a new query by copying the Bloomfield Patients query. So open your navigation pane over here again with your open close shutter button there. And you'll note that the Bloomfield Patients query is the first one here. So let's go ahead and right click Bloomfield Patients. Once you get that pop up, let's go ahead and click copy in our shortcut menu. Once you've copied that, we're going to right click the empty area near the bottom of the navigation pane and click paste. And it says, well, what do you want to call this new query? We're going to call this query earlier visits. All as one word. Once you've given that new query the name, go ahead and hit the OK button or hit the Enter key on your keyboard. And you will see that earlier visits has now been added to the queries group here as one of our query objects for our Chatham database. Let's go ahead and open that up. And with that open, go ahead and let's run our query, which is what happens when we double click the query. It runs or executes as it's opening. So we've done that. Let's go ahead and close our navigation pane, and you'll recall that we had 14 records based on the same criteria for our Bloomfield patients. So as we just made a direct copy, all we did was change the name of this new query. So let's go ahead and close our shutter bar here so that only our data is present in our data sheet view for our earlier visits query we just created. So we've got this query, but there's no need to have two copies. So we created this copy because we want to modify the design of this. So go ahead and go to your Views group and click the View button to go to Design View. And let's go down here in our design grid, and we're going to click the Criteria button here for our Visit Date field. And we're going to type a value for our search criteria to be less than January 1st, 2016. Let's go ahead and type that information in now. Once you've typed that information in, go ahead and hit the Tab button to leave that field, and then you can see that Access applies any type of criteria conditional formatting in for us there, so that it is the way that Access is looking for. Great job on that. Let's go ahead and save and close our earlier patients query. So we've saved it. Now we will close it. Now let's create a new query, and we will use our AND logical operators. So create a new query. We're going to go into our ribbon. Up here we're going to select Create again. And of course we're going to go down to Queries. And we're going to select the Query Design button once more time. We're going to add our patient and visit tables. Click Close now. And the fields we're going to enter after we expand or resize this, we can see all the available fields. We are going to select first name, last name, and let's go ahead and pick birth date, phone, and city. I will hit the undo button to deselect state. So I'm going to select city. And then from our visit table, we're going to select visit date and reason. Go ahead and verify that your information looks just like mine. Then we're going to click and add some criteria here in our birth date criteria box. So let's go ahead in that birth date criteria box. Go ahead and enter that we want to be dates that are less than or equal to December 31st, 1956. Then we will tab over to our reason criteria box, and we're going to just type in influenza. And once you've typed that in, press the tab key. Now we have set up our criteria, and we want to go ahead and run our query. Go up here in the results group, click run, and there you will see the 2 records that meet our criteria. So Access displays only those records that meet both conditions. If we take a look at our design view again, our design criteria is telling us we're using an AND logical operator because we have 2 pieces of criteria here. So the AND logical operator is saying, alright, with conditions entered in the same row that meet a birth date that's less than December 31st, 1956, and that the reason they were here was for influenza. So with that one done, we'll just go ahead and click run again just to see those 2 records again. Now that we have this, well, we like this query. We want to keep it, so we're going to save it and give it a new name. So let's go ahead and click the Save button. We will call this query Older and Flu Patients. Once you've done that, go ahead and hit Enter, and you will see that our query has now been saved. We'll go ahead and close the new query. Okay, let's use some of the skills we've acquired over this lesson. We're going to open up here, and we are going to select our Older and Flu Patients query we just created. We're going to go ahead and make a copy of this. So let's go ahead and make a copy in whichever manner you want to do. You can click copy up here if you like. And then we're going to paste it. So we can just click anywhere down here. We can click paste. It says, okay, what do you want to call this new query that you just copied? We're going to call this one Older or Flu Patients. So go ahead and make that change now. Once you've got that name entered, go ahead and save that. You'll see that that now becomes active query over here in our database. And let's go ahead and open up this Older or Flu Patients. And once we have that doing, let's go ahead and go into our design view. From here, go down to your design grid. We're going to make some changes here. And we're going to use our OR criteria. So we're going to say we want all patients that meet this criteria of patients with birth dates less than December 31st, 1956 or equal to, or anyone that came in for influenza. So let's cut this by, you can use like Control X once you highlight influenza, or you can just delete it and you can retype it in to our OR criteria. Put that information back in of influenza. Go ahead and press the Tab key to keep that information. And let's add a little sort here in the birth date sort box here. Go ahead and click on the far right end of that box. And let's sort this by descending values. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and run this query. And Access should then, once we run this, will only display those records that meet either condition, a birth date field less than or equal to December 31st, 1956, or a reason field value of influenza. So Access selects the records that meet or both criteria. Let's run this, and you should see that we have 38 records now instead of 2. So this query displays all 38 records that meet our criteria that we just created using our OR logical operator.